Hello Chapets and welcome back. Well, kind of welcome back. This is a second part video that I'm doing for the game Vampire Hunters, which is up on Kickstarter right now, and you can click on the Kickstarter logo over here. There it is. I just touched it. Woo! You can go and click on that and go and see this game, and hopefully you want this game, and so you can participate by helping finance it. The last video that I did was a kind of demonstration of how the game plays, and you can see that video by clicking on this video image just here. Yes, go and click on it and watch. And this video here that I'm talking now is a summary of how I feel about the game. Now, the last video ended with Vampire Hunter is a board game that everybody should. And in this video now, I'm going to say that Vampire Hunters is a board game that every Lost Boy fan is going to be licking their blood-stained lips with. Yes, this game is a dungeon crawl, so if you're used to that type of game, this is your normal kind of standard kind of game. It fits that trope of exploring, combat, and lots of map tiles and other traps and treasures. But does it fit the theme? Yes, it does. The vampire theme makes this game stand out a little bit different from all the other ones that you've played probably. Due to the fact that there is that night and day phase. And in the day phase, the vampires are very easy to slay, and in the night time they wake up and they are a bummer to kill. And they can cause you lots of problems. The gameplay for me is very reminiscent of Descent Journeys into Darkness, which is a game that I've been playing quite a lot of due to the fact that there is this app out called Road to Legend, which lets the app take over the control of the bad guy. Much like in this, there's no bad guy. You're playing as a team cooperatively against the game. Like the app for Descent does the same thing. And this game feels very much like playing that. But there is some little differences. This game is a little bit more streamlined than Descent due to the fact that there's not so many options for the enemies when they move. It is pretty much the vampires are, I'm gonna eat you, and they run towards you. And that's what this feels like. And it's a lot more simpler than Descent in that respect, which is good. The mission itself is a very tight one, and as I would like to state that this is a demo, this is a prototype that I've played. Okay, this is not the full game. I don't know what all the other missions are going to be. I don't know if there's going to be extra rules, if there's going to be changes down the line, because again, with the game being play tested more and more times, there are little things that are going to be tweaked along the way. So just by playing this scenario, it felt very tight and it felt very tense and very absorbing. You were this big tank going into this house, kicking open the door. You're Sam and Dean Winchester, for God's sake. Yeah, vampires, boom, boom, boom. You've got all these weapons and you've got all these grenades and other things, and then you throw them and all of a sudden you're all out of stuff and you're back to your basic weapons, and then nighttime falls and the vampires are stronger than you, and it just felt really tense, and yeah, you're not going to win much. Just by maybe it's my playing style, but you won't win much with playing this game, which is a real good challenge. It is a puzzle game. You're strategically thinking, well, where are we going to come in from? How are we going to do this? We're going to work together as a team, because if you do, there's those special cards which you can add in, which lets you do team actions together, kind of combos. Why are you going to go individually? Are you going to go in and just slay everything in sight? Or are you just going to do some exploring to find out what get your objectives done? And then hopefully finish the objectives before the nighttime encroaches and wakes everyone up in the house or in the den or in the nest. It is really, really a good strategic puzzle. Also, there is that element of dice rolling luck, which is, you know, if you're used to games like this, is normal. The dice combat is kind of pretty standard affair, you know, just rolling a set amount of dice to get a value higher than this to succeed. It would have been nice to see kind of a new method. The line of sight works really well as well. It's very, very simple to understand because the spaces are all different types of shapes and then there's walls and corners and stuff. It works really well. As I said, you go into this place as a big tank. Bang! It's nice to later on you have to search. You spend most of the beginning of the game maybe just staking vampires or trying to find the objective. But there will come a time when you will have to start searching for extra items and weapons that you can make from scrap bits and pieces, which is really good as well. It took a little while to get used to the action method. In this game, you have 3 actions. In normal games of this ilk, you'll have 2 actions. You know, move, attack, attack, move. In this, you got 3, and it took a little while to get used to it. Again, it would have been nice to have some kind of tiles or a card or something which kept track of your actions and your turns, because what's going to be happening is you're going to be doing your 3 actions, so you need to keep count of that somehow. And then you're going to activate the vampires, and then it's going to be the other player's turn, and then they're going to activate the vampires, and then it's going to be another player's turn, and they're going to activate the vampires, and then the clock ticks. You know, it would have been nice to have a card just to flip over to say, yeah, I've had my turn, or some kind of little, just a little thing, but sometimes you lose track of who's gone and who hasn't gone, because you're not always going to go in turn order as well. The different monsters felt a little bit different because they, especially at night time when they have their powers, but in the daytime they all kind of felt similar, which is probably thematic because they're all going to be weak and, you know, sleeping half. Oh yeah, someone's going to try to kill me. You know, but they do definitely amp up the challenge when you got different types of monsters, and they all look really cool and really frightening from the minis and the sculpts and everything. A little problem that I did run into is 2 of the characters, the warrior and the Erpa. They're very, very, very similar drawings. Oh, I can't find them now. But they're very, very similar stance. They're very similar colours. They're very similar looking vampires, and distinguishing the 2 were different. Hopefully that will change later on in the game. There's one of them. You know, there's so many little nice ideas in the game, from the joining combat thing to the character which is outside with the eliminator, which you can just go and stab a vampire and then drag him outside to burn him in the sun, if it's daylight, that is. The other artwork in the game looks fantastic. All the rooms and everything, they look really nice. Really, really creepy and kind of Resident Evil styly, which is cool. And the fact that they can be kind of generic as well, because you can put doors in different places or windows in different places, is useful. Again, with the encounter tokens, that will amp up the replayability, because different encounter tokens in different places will put different monsters in different places as well. So that will change how the game plays a little bit, not drastically. The character boards are a good way to track how many items you can carry, and it's a good way that you can evenly see all your equipment and all your skills as well. The skills are very useful, you'll be using them a lot, but getting the focus points can be a bit hard, because you're going to get them in certain ways by killing certain monsters and by activating certain levers or obtaining certain objectives, which is good. Problem that again ran into is knowing when you had to use the force points to buy the item or to use the item. So a little differentiation of colour would have been useful, you know, a blue and a green maybe, one to buy and one to use. But hopefully that will change eventually in the game. Now another little thing that I'm going to talk about is maybe nothing to do with the game at all. It's just my little, how I feel about the game. When we were placing vampires, laying them down, I was thinking about it, you know, looking at your board and you got these minis laying down. They don't look good. I don't even like doing it in other games when someone's knocked out or someone's dead or something. But having all these vampires laid down made me a bit, And I was thinking maybe they could interject another rule in the game where you're not putting vampires asleep in the game. You're actually laying these little tokens which are coffins, and they have different levels. So there's level 1 coffins, level 2 coffins, level 3 coffins. Obviously they're different levels of monster, and so you only get to see what's in the coffin if you turn it over and it says, oh, it's a warrior, or it's a slave, or it's a guard dog. And again, that would just make the board look a bit more cleaner as well. Having all these vampires laying down, especially if you're going to go in there and just try and find the objectives, it was a bit, you know. And again, telling if one was awake and one was asleep sometimes, because I mean, these tokens are all the same size, yes, But the minis will probably be all the same size, and knowing which one's awake and which one's asleep by just laying it down was a little bit difficult to difficult to say, as well as differentiate. Yeah, that's the word. Okay, so yeah, I would have liked a system like that where you didn't know what was in the coffin, but you knew it was a vampire sleeping. It could have been a trap. It could have been. But again, the same kind of thing. You have an encounter token which tells you to put a coffin there, coffin there, coffin there. So you got the 3 different levels, or maybe 4 different levels of toughness of vampires. So you could just like walk past them, or have a sneak inside. Oh, it's one of those. I can kill him quite easily. But that was just a little bugbear of mine, having the minis laid down. So yeah, there you go. I actually enjoy this game. I think it does have a little niche in your dungeon crawling kind of cabinet, because it is a strategic game where you're going into a place and you're eliminating. As I said, I don't know what the other missions are going to be later in the game. They might all be the same thing, hopefully not, but they may be something different and you'll have different things. I didn't even go into playing vampires as well, because what'll happen is if your character is knocked out, 0 life points, you turn into a vampire, and so you'll have your own objective. It'll be different to the other players, which is a nice twist. I haven't played with that variant, but it sounds really cool and really interesting. Hopefully I'll get a chance to try it later on and see if it is any good. But as I said, hopefully the scenarios will vary a bit, give this game a lot more replayability. It does have a different style and a slightly different feel to every other kind of hero quest, dungeon crawler that you've ever played. Definitely different to Mice and Mystics or Descent, but it did feel very, very structured and very, very tight. The game was about an hour, normally under an hour, sometimes a bit over the hour, but it felt really, really good. And I'm looking forward to seeing some more about this game. So if you're looking forward to seeing some more of this game, click on the Kickstarter link, as I said, up here, and go and check it out. Hopefully there'll be some more information about adventures that are coming eventually. And then obviously there'll be more stuff about more minis that they're going to introduce and more characters. And yeah, the characters, pretty generic, but they work. So if this game sounds like your thing, click on the link up here and go and help with your support for this game. Otherwise, just keep an eye on it, because it might be something that interests you. Hopefully they'll start opening up and telling you other scenarios, or maybe a rule book of scenarios that you'll be able to play later on, or test, or imagine how it's going to feel. And hopefully there'll be more. Well, I think there'll definitely be more minis that'll be coming along the line. So go and click on that, check it out. Again, if you've enjoyed watching this video, thank you very much. Go to my site, boardgameseverybodyshould.com. Check out all the other videos that I do there. I don't just do video reviews or Kickstarters. I do other kinds of things like songs and music. I also do a podcast, Berkey and Badger's Board Game Babble. Please, 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 please go along and check that out. Thank you for watching this video and putting up with me babbling, because I'm a board game babbler of some sorts. And hopefully I'll catch you soon. But remember, you don't have to buy every single board game that's out there. You just need to own some good ones. Ciao for now.
When you first start dating a girl, you don't want to like fully throw out your nerd flag and show exactly. I mean, she'd been to my apartment, she'd seen the like hundreds of graphic novels that I had, but she had no idea. So I would always put every Saturday. Here's my nerd flag. So we're like, you know, just like 6 of us sitting around a table, you know, playing Dungeons and Dragons, eating pizza, having a blast. The door opens up, and here comes my now wife. Just knows that she's gonna be like catching me with some other girl, and she did. All of us kind of turn and look. I was like, hey.
We need a T-shirt for this nerd flag thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and have a look, see if I can find my nerd flag. I've got one over there.
Does he have a flag now?
Yes, I have my flag now. You invite your girlfriend back to your apartment. You say, "Oh, would you like to listen to some music? I've got this really cool album. Yes, it's the best sound effects from the BBC. It's got the TARDIS on it as well. TARDIS is number 3 on here."